Okay. Oh yeah, I'm here. um, Hi everybody. Hi Lynn. Hi love. Welcome to the Forbidden History Chronicles. Um, you're here with Ninja Cat 111 and Desert Owl from the Forbidden History series. I'll just get straight into the introduction. I managed to fix up my V Mana video, so we'll play that a little bit later, and a couple of pictures from the Canberra storms lately. We'll just get into this now. The signs of the times. In essence, Desert can discuss the history of the world and how the unseen hand has been running it from the very beginning of time, who they are and how they have founded all of the first great civilizations that are found all around the world, about who the giants really were, and the ancient Aryan caste and slave systems, the priesthoods, the anti-gravity V-Manas, the earth-based misnomered UFOs which are man-made, the control of all forms of communications, commerce, religion, mass media, pseudo-politics, etc. It is the grand deception that is used to control all of mankind, and all instituted through the three main religions of the world in particular, used as their grand cover. The cyber code has been revealed to him because he has become adept within the study of the ancient alphabets, communications, symbolism, religion, custom, law, cosmology and mythology, not to mention the fallacy of today's political science and pseudoscience in particular. He can also define the true nature of their warfare, their shell game of bringing one civilization up for their temporary use and then taking it down for the next 500-year generational cycle, as symbolized by the classical phoenix. He can discuss the ultimate in mind control and ancient art and the financial control, the secret societies and their blood occult rituals, and how they wage all wars throughout all time through the nations that they have created, which are all imaginations, plantations, and mere corporations. They have taken blood oaths to surrender their self-will and mind to their blind goddess who has demanded our blood from the very beginning of time. They communicate to their minions through the movies, TV, and print media, while he can see, read, and interpret most all of it. It all says that they are using us for our ingenuity, for our collective constructive labour, for experimentation, and in the end they intend to kill us all. They have given us full notice of what they are doing and what they fully intend to do, while all of the general population, the sheeple, they merely go there to be entertained. The New World Order is the Old World Order from the beginning of time. There is a major cosmic natural disaster that is about to happen on Earth, and they know it, but they are cleverly leaving us in the dark, hence the reason that they have built hundreds of underground bases all around the world, while they are leaving all of the people to remain unprepared, uninformed, and above ground, so that when it comes, the mere 5% who will survive above ground will die from the weaknesses and disease that has been generated from all of the poisons that they have been feeding us, from the chemtrails, to fluoride in the water, to tainted vaccines, to fake food, etc., etc. They have enslaved us all by the clever means of deception, because we, most all, are their cattle, chattel, property, and because they merely wanted to harness our labour, what they always needed, which is what backs most of the world's currency through the birth certificate, but they are all through with us now. It is written in stone, as it can be seen written in the Georgia Guidestones. To know the truth is to be empowered and to be prepared. We may not be able to stop what has been done and what is about to happen, but the innocent and decent people on planet Earth deserve to know. And that was very well written by Desert Owl from the Forbidden History series, who I'd like to welcome. How's it going, Desert? Are you with us?
Hi, Ninja. I'm here. Let me pinch myself. Yes, I'm still in the Matrix. I'm living an illusion and a dream and a nightmare all at the same time.
Okay, well that's unfortunate, but I'm glad you're here.
Okay. Yeah, does anybody really know what time it is? And truth is, I don't think anybody really cares, to spin it another way from that old song we used to listen to. I don't know who it was. Yeah, we're in an amazing age of deception and a pinnacle of technology. There was another pinnacle of technology a long time ago. It was different. Each procession that occurs, it's, and to use an axiom, nothing changes. Everything is, just another version of another version, but still the quality, the dress that it wears, I think, is a good terminology. That's where we get the Luciferians. The men wear the dresses. It's always a little different, but it's still the same, So the technology to create these megalithic structures, it's possible that can also be reinstituted. Maybe that technology is still available, but the Gizar, not the Giza, but the Gizar pyramid certainly couldn't be reproduced, because that was built by Yahweh himself as he commissioned Melchizedek, Asham, or Shem, which is an abbreviation of his real title, Asham. And he was commissioned to build the Gizar pyramid prior to the flood, to be a memorial to his greatness and to the flood as well. And that was found in the Book of Enoch, and its dimensions are found written in, I believe it's in Ezekiel. People just need to get a copy of the book, The Great Pyramid Decoded, by Raymond Kapp, a gentleman I spoke to at least once, if not twice, and he was already in his 90s at the time, so he's passed away now. But he gave us some really important discoveries in his own work, Raymond Kapp. So go to artisanpublishers.com and tell him Desert sent you. Artisanpublishers.com, all one word, artisanpublishers.com, okay? And then go get The Great Pyramid Decoded. It only took, for the first 5 pages did I need to read, and I realized who built the Great Pyramid, because nobody could build this pyramid, nobody, other than the one who built the universe himself. And there are no words in there other than up in that upper loft, and there's some graffiti up there, but there are no Egyptian hieroglyphics, Mediterranean, because the word Egypt never existed back then, only 350 years ago, but there was no hieroglyphics in there, or no words, because it is all speaking with numbers, and it gives the dimensions of the earth, the circumference of the earth. Well, that throws that flat theory out, doesn't it? It's got the dimensions of the Earth's circumference, the distance to the sun. I guess that sun is not a little basketball up there in the air, but it's actually 100 million miles away and bigger than all get out, and the Earth came out of it. That's
they're throwing that around at the moment, on that theory, like the flat Earth and the sun being so close and not what we think it is. Yeah. It's all over the place at the moment. Yeah, sorry, please continue.
Right, well, well, one can properly interpret the ancient scriptures and nature itself, which is speaking. There is no longer a theory, because it is possible to know. It is possible to know, and not to mention Yeshua being the revealer. One has to have a connection with their maker, with their redeemer, and their soul navigator. And of course, the scriptures are all about a solar centric system. Because everything came out of the light. If that isn't simply a fundamental, what I don't know what else is.
Yeah.
People who are claiming Christianity, and then denying a solar centric circle that everything came out of the light. They show they can't read scripture, let alone anything else.
I'm just backing up what you're saying, because I'm seeing it. Like, they're saying we're a flat plane in a dome thing, sitting by ourselves in nothingness, pretty much. And at the same time, they're talking about going back to the light, and it's just all so mixed up out there. And I think it's deliberate, and it's confusion, and misdirection.
Well, what people are saying in essence is they're saying Yahweh is not very talented,
Yeah.
and he simply created a fish aquarium and put us all in
A
there, and
snow
he's just
dome.
having fun looking good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, it's profoundly magic in the miracle of what life is and how everything goes round. The microcosm, the macrocosm is symbolic of the microcosm. That everything spins and everything is the serpent in the metaphor, and so we can look at nature and see how things spin, and we see it in the plants, and particularly like the patterns on the sunflower, the face of a sunflower, or the
Yeah.
the artichoke, the spirals around the artichoke, what they call the Fibonacci sequence. It's or the nautilus out of the oceans and other shell creatures like the snail or the ram's horn. The ram's horn. If the Fibonacci sequence didn't work, the ram would be in big trouble because the ram's horn is built with balance. A balance. That thing can get bigger and bigger and bigger, but it never loses its balance because of the way the Fibonacci works. We are constructed of that same sequence. 1 plus 1 is 2, and then 1 plus 2 is 3, then 2 plus 3 is 5, 3 plus 5 is 8, and it keeps going, and that's how we are, all of nature has been constructed. Even the wave of the ocean, it's identical to the waves of the galaxy that is speaking to us.
Wow. That's cool. Yeah.
So I've got some interesting stuff today I was going to share. First of all, I got a quote that the real destroyers of liberties of the people is he who spreads among them the promises of bounties, donations, and benefits. That's Plutarch from Rome. The real destroyers of the liberties or freedom of the people is he who spreads among them the promises of bounties, donations, and benefits. Okay? So you don't want any benefits. If you're a beneficiary, then somebody owns you, And I know that we all fall victim to that in this modern time. It's not so easy to be set free, but the most important freedom that we want is the freedom in our minds, because we one thing the scripture says, like I think it was A. Shaul Paul said, are you a slave? And then don't seek to be free. Be perfect in the state that you're in. Are you a free man? Then don't seek to be a slave. So no matter whether a slave or free, we can be free in the Mashiach. We can be perfect within our character and put on the light of Yeshua. So that's the good news. Like, people are so caught up about what the beast mark is. Well, what do they call it in the dollar in Germany? It's a mark,
Yeah.
So the dollar is a mark. You can't get rid of it. Try getting rid of that dollar and don't use it anymore, Ninja. Okay? Think you can do it? You're impossible, right?
Yeah.
Unless you want to starve to death.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I would love to. I'd love to get rid of that dollar and go and live a simple life. But you need the dollar to be able to go and do that. Catch-22.
Yeah. So, So I've got a profound read. I made a discovery. I had acquired this book called the Book of Yahweh, also known as the Yahweh's Bible, that came from 1,000 years ago, and it had it's the Yahweh's text. So it's apparently some of this was included in the what's called the 5 Books of Moses, but it never was written by Moses. It came out of Babylon actually, and was piecemealed with the Yahweh's text out of the Southern Kingdom and the other texts out of the Northern Kingdom, and then several other texts, including the Book of Jasher. And but this one in particular has some different scriptures in it that are synoptic with our received scriptures, or Genesis, Exodus, what have you. But then here's the missing pieces are in here. Some of the missing pieces, and then I was reading the footnotes in the back, and all of a sudden it was, oh wow, okay, I should have been reading those footnotes right out the gate. You always got to go to the back of the book and make sure you don't miss anything, because I did some quick word checks, and I literally As you know, I talked about Adam and his being the first made and then coming down last after all civilization was already here. The other forms of civilization and creation, the Aryan was last on the scene. And this is part of the great mystery. And yet I just got a bigger scoop of it this morning when I looked a little closer at it. I did another read of the beginning of this book. I'm working my way through it. And so I'm going to share that at the end. I'm going to save the best for last. And you'll get an example of how profoundly unique this transliteration of the original thought transliteration project is going to be within this work, because it's basically what they've given us is a story that is not the true story. They've given us a type of a story, but they made Hadam look like some poor naked boy, that they couldn't think straight and didn't have a brain, and but the story is totally different. It's totally different than that, and so I'll touch on that at the end. And I also have a read from the Dictionary of All Scriptures and Myths, which I'm glad you have a PDF version of now, and anybody who wants to get a copy can get that through Ninja. But I have so I'm going to do what would be my morning read tomorrow. I figured I'll do a little bit of that today because it turns out to be some really good stuff, and I want to share that. And then I've got a book review I'm going to just do real quick without getting into the book, but just I got a new book in today. I'll share that. But I just wanted to share with you real quick. I've stumbled on this actually a couple of months ago, Ninja, and I totally forgot to share it with you.
Yeah.
But I actually discovered them in my etymological studies. I actually discovered the meaning of the word Australia. Do you know the meaning of it?
No, I don't.
Oh.
No,
They don't
I'm just
teach you that?
trying
They
to
don't
think
teach you
if
that
I've
in shul?
ever seen it anywhere ever in my research, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
No,
in
I
other
can't.
words, it's just another dumb word, like the dumb people
No, there's
think,
meaning
right?
to it. I know there's meaning to it. I know that. That's why I was thinking so hard to see if
You
I
would
could
think
remember.
that in the state of Australia, they would tell you the meaning of your own nation, right?
Yes, you would think so, Desert. Yes. Yes, you
They
would.
like to keep secrets, don't they?
Yes, they do.
You know,
Yes. We're
They're not
always
talking.
out of the loop down here,
They're
Desert. You know that.
They're down at a tavern having a drink, laughing on everybody else.
Yep. So what's the meaning?
All right.
So
How much you got?
I think
Never
a freebie,
mind.
please. Freebie, please.
All right. Sugar? Okay. So the word Australia, okay? Oh, by the way, before I'm going to lead into it.
Oh, Desert.
Okay? So,
Oh,
wait a minute. We got to, we're doing a radio broadcast here. We got to do a little, come on.
build the suspense. Yeah.
so-
Okay.
I remember watching a YouTube one day,
Yeah.
and I saw the story about how apparently some Mediterraneans, falsely called Egyptians, crash landed on the shores of Australia
Yeah, I know,
and were
yeah.
shipwrecked there.
Yep. That
You know
part I
about
know.
that. And
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually went down into a rock quarry type of a area, and
Yeah.
they literally drew hieroglyphics all on one or two sides of a cavern wall, right?
Yep. Yep.
Have you been there, or have you seen?
No, I've just looked into it, into all that sort of stuff. And
on
that's
video,
more. That
right?
yeah,
Fine.
that's more stuff that they haven't told us down here. I had to look
Yeah.
for it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that then leads into the meaning of the word, because the question would be, how in the world did Mediterraneans, falsely called Egyptians, get all the way to the Australian continent? Because it's like we never think of it. At least I know it's different from your side of the world, but from our side of the world, it would be like, what would we would never imagine that the Mediterraneans would be landing on the shores of your
Yeah.
continent.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that those Aborigines who have dark skin and blonde hair, that's sort of a tip off that maybe the story is true, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, so Oz, actually, there's the U.S. again. Do you remember what U.S. means? We talked about it Tuesday.
We did, didn't we?
Yeah, what does U.S. mean?
I can't remember. I can't think. I'm only halfway through my first cup of coffee.
He does the program half asleep, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So, wakes up at 5 in the morning just to do this. So, all right. So U.S. means light. Okay, like in Zeus.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember now. Yep.
All right. So
we're talking about the word Jesus.
So,
yeah. Okay.
So what letter represents the sun?
What letter represents the sun? Oh.
Put it up on YouTube. You put it up. The graphic.
I know. A. I just saw it.
Okay,
A-U-S. A-U-S. A-U-S, does it?
Has everything to do with the sun, right?
Yes.
What's the next word after A-U-S? Make the next word. What is the next word?
Trail.
However, what is it?
Oh no.
Say again?
Was I right?
I don't know. I didn't hear you.
Trail. Trail?
Oh, trail. Happy trail.
Oh wow.
Until we meet again. So Australia, and then you hear the sound at the end. It doesn't look like L.A.
Oh, desert. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just, which goes round. Australia.
Yep.
So is it possible then Australia actually means the eastern trail to the light?
Wow. Wow. I live 2 hours away from a little fishing village called fishing town, as we say here in Oz, called Eden. Is that coincidence or is that?
Oh, that's the sun. You see, Eden is the atom.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, I've been there. I've been to Eden.
This is why, like, they went across North America and destroyed all the evidence of the giants, right?
Wow.
They don't want us to know this stuff. That's why they didn't tell you in school. You know? So yeah. So
wow.
Australia. So unlike, you know, from the Red Sea, you know, you can't get into the Mediterranean nor can you get into the Atlantic. You got to come through the Red Sea, down through the Persian Gulf area, out then into the Indian Ocean, and you got a choice. You can go to the southern horn of South Africa, or you can go east towards the rising sun and go to Australia, the Eastern Trail of the sun.
Wow.
Okay, check's in the mail, right?
Yes, right. It is. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So don't forget, you heard it here first, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Indeed. Wow. Land of Oz, hey? We are not in Kansas anymore, and I had to say that. Sorry. Keep going.
Say it again. I missed it.
I was just making a joke, kind of weird, about the Land of Oz. We're not in Kansas anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, you are the Land of Oz, aren't you?
I am the Land of Oz. Lately,
yeah, Oz, Land of Oz.
Lately, there's been rumours. Oh, last year there was rumours that Australia didn't exist. It was taken. The picture of Australia was taken off maps. And yeah, just all this weird stuff. Like, we've had it pretty cruisy down here when it comes to the deception, and like all the controlled weather and everything right up until now, and now they're hammering us. And to me, that confirms a few things with what you just revealed to me. We've been left till last, and nobody's really noticed. Nobody's really noticed, and everyone's become complacent down here, and they're all asleep. And then just bam, from behind, we're getting whacked left, right, and centre now, all over the place. And yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain right now because I am still sleepy. But Yeah, a lot of things are making sense now that you revealed that.
Well, great.
Yeah, it's
Great.
wow.
All right.
Yeah.
So I got a book in today. I got a new book. Actually, got 3 books today. It was a special day for that. But
You
no,
said-
actually, one of them was a DVD. I got
okay.
Paul and Peter on a DVD, so I can be inspired on my day of breaking bread. I want to, I want. Well, anyway, I can't get enough inspiration. That's the one thing we really need, Ninja, is inspiration
Yeah.
from any type of source we can grab it from. And that's why.
You sound really
where
excited
people-
today. It's I like it. You've got, I can hear it in your voice. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Well, I got, like I say, before the program, I guess I told you that when I got this one in, I actually already had a vision of a deeper meaning within our received scriptures. You see, because we're trying to make connections, and the bigoted people, we could also call them narrow-minded, or we can also call them prejudice. You see, and prejudice means prejudgment. You see, people prejudge things without investigating,
Yeah.
and therefore,
Yeah.
like I had a friend when I was in Georgia, and I had acquired the book that basically proves the one world order and the Hindu Brahmin Aryan connection that I talk about. I'm looking for the book right now. Oh yeah, so the proof of Vedic culture's global existence by Stephen Knapp, and so my friend, being one of those narrow-minded Christians, I handed him the book. I said, hey, I'm not going to mention names, and
Okay.
you need to get this book, and I said it talks about how the Aryan Hindus have been set up the one world order, pyramid civilization way back when, and he wouldn't touch the book, he wouldn't touch it, he wouldn't even hold it, and so that's the problem, you see, because in the culture of mainstream Christianity, which you have 650 different flavors, so you can get exactly the flavor you like. They teach them that yoga is evil, and anything outside of their narrow sphere of what they've been pre-programmed and told is correct, then they can't do anything. Just sort of like here in the Amish community, the men have to wear straw hats. They have to have a beard with no mustache, and they have to women have to wear a bonnet on their head all the time. It's so tragic. Talk about slavery. These women with beautiful hair, and they can't even let their hair flow down with the grace that the Heavenly Father gave them. And they so this narrow, and that's mind control. You see that right there is. You mean tell me I'm going to be free in Christ, and you're going to tell me how to shave?
Yeah, exactly.
Or,
contradiction.
What kind of hat to wear?
Yeah.
And so it's really an amazing thing. So the point is that we have to investigate. In other words, I read stuff that challenged our Christianity. That like there's one. I don't like to mention certain books that I don't recommend. But there was one book that basically put down Christianity in a profound way, and I say, well, if this guy's trying to do that, I need to read it, because I know he's not going to sway my conviction. Conviction's not the best word, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I investigate. I'm a reporter. I'm a journalist. I want to live forever, and so therefore, what does this guy know that he thinks he can put down my truth?
Yeah.
And so in other words, what is the axiom of Sun Tzu? The art of war. That you absolutely have to know your enemy, and you absolutely have to know yourself if you're going to win a battle. And if you think you're going to win a battle, not knowing anything, because certainly people who don't want to know about things really don't know themselves either. Because if they knew themselves, they know where they really come from. They know the true nature and origin of all things, and therefore they'd want to know the enemy, because the enemy has full intention on keeping them earthbound. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, you've got to do your research. You've got to do your research, and that's what's lacking.
Yeah.
People have forgotten how to think.
You can't be afraid. If you're founded on a rock, then nothing's going to stop, change your direction of where you're going. So I
Yeah.
I left no stone unturned,
Yeah.
and I read books. I ended up with 2,000 books on the shelf, and then I lost 90% of them with my divorce, but I kept the most important ones for the translation project and for my research, and I just been carrying them around with me for the last 30 years or 25 years, I guess. But so I get the book in today that I think I used to have it. Out of all my books, it's hard to remember which ones I had or didn't. But the Book of the Dead by the Mediterranean Book of the Dead, falsely called the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and the word dead does not exist in this culture. The word dead is one of our modern terminologies. What the word for death was the setting sun. You see, it was called westing. Going west. Setting. The word is setting in the west. So westing is the more direct term, westing, and so that it puts a new perspective on the fact that we have a company here in America that works with electric technology, and they call it Westinghouse. You see, because that's exactly what they would have said. He went to the Westinghouse. So when we got a major company in America that's part of the Illuminati clique, and they're calling it Westinghouse, they're basically saying this is the house of the dead. Us, you see.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, in spite of that, so I got the Book of the Dead in, and I just started looking at it, just a few of the pictures. I hardly had a chance even. I was trying to read the introduction or the introductory, cover material just before we started the program, and I saw it. I actually saw a whole new, aspect of this that I had not seen before. We'll use the word Egypt, I guess, for the moment, because people get it easier. The brain Washington's been pretty thorough.
Yeah.
I wanted to say brain Washington. That's a good one. Brain Washington has been very good for us.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry.
So,
yeah, please continue.
So all of a sudden, your Washington hadn't done you very good either, has it?
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The land of Oz.
The land of Oz.
So all of a sudden, what I wanted to do, you see, I read some of these clips. This book comes out of the British Museum from 1900, and it's one of the keepers of the British Museum of the Ancient Antiquities Department, Budge, and so he did also the Book of Osiris. I've read about a quarter of the Book of Osiris, and he's the savior, represents the savior. But this when I heard, I guess it was out of this dictionary of all scriptures and myths we're going to read. And he periodically would refer to some of the quotes out of the Book of the Dead, and it was like, whoa, what? I got to read this now, because remember in the last few programs I was trying to point out that in the Greek mythology, the other ancient mythologies, they have the very story that belongs to our Redeemer, only wearing different clothing, right?
Yeah. Different versions of the same thing. Yeah.
It's the same story. It's just the ancient watchers knew that at the end of time that the Redeemer would come to deliver mankind, and so they upstarted him, and they created their own religious cultures with all their pyramid civilizations around the world. Say, hey, don't wait for your Savior. He's coming tomorrow. We got him. Okay, just hang in. Tomorrow we'll have him. And they created all the false cultures, but it wasn't a false narrative. It was a true narrative, but it was dressed in false traditions. False traditions with with priesthoods that were, ritually drinking blood at night, prior to their Sunday mass. You know what I mean? And so all of a sudden, I wanted to use the Book of the Dead to prove out that it was telling a story. And forget people's prejudice for a moment, because we've got to hear some things we've never heard before and make connections. And in fact, it was what John Galvin said in the Book of Revelations, John, when he said, "And I heard the voice that spoke with me, which was like the voice that was upon the many waters." The many waters are all the different cultures that had the same Savior story, the hero journey, And so I wanted to use this Book of the Dead to give examples. I thought it would be a great read, and I'm really excited about it right now. But and I think I might discover more about our cosmology, and the metaphysics of what we're always talking about here. Because I'm trying to expand my horizon and I'm not afraid to go where nobody else wants to tread, because it all comes back to the light, in Yeshua. So what did Egypt Meitzar call themselves? They were calling themselves the city of light. That's what Meitzar, is the Maystar. It means paradise, Paradisia, you see, and the Tsar is the star. So the Pharaoh, he sat upon what he called the sun throne. So he's claiming to be Elohim. He's claiming to be the incarnation of the great spirit that's in the logo of the sun, the spirit of light that comes down, you see. So that's what Pharaoh is representing, and that's why Moses was able to get in his face, when he says, "Who is your God?" And what the priesthood did, they changed it, of course, but when Pharaoh said, "So who is this that tells you I have to let your people go?" And he says, "What?" He says, "What is his name?" And then Moshe goes, "I am." Of course, the way they corrupted is, "I am that I am sent me," right? But this is really what it said. He says, "I am the one who you claim to be." You see? The one that you're claiming to be, I am. You see? So he's evil. He's in the darkness. While he's claiming to be the light, he's torturing people, killing babies, doing all this death and enslaving people, having a party on everybody else, right? And so the people are enslaved and looking for deliverance. And he's saying, "I am the one that you claim to be." That's who I am. You get the picture?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Desert.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I am the one that you claim to be.
Just let me say that. I am the one that you claim to be. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
helps,
that's what's
helps
going
it
on.
sink in.
So, I'm sorry?
It helps it sink in with me. Yeah, saying it out loud. Yeah.
Yeah, he's sitting on the sun throne. He's sitting on the sun throne, right? Representing the sun, and then the great Elohim, the Yahweh, who made the sun, through Yeshua, his only loved seed, comes down, represented by Moshe and Aaron, and they're carrying the staff, the Ashaf, which is the symbol of the serpent, which is the symbol of creation, and the symbol of a scepter of royalty, coming down to meet Pharaoh and saying, "You don't represent the light. Excuse me." And yeah,
Just
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And so,
yeah,
and
I'd
so
love
do
to.
you remember the?
Sorry, I'd love
Say
to.
what?
I'd love to be there and witness that. Like I'm creating mental pictures as you tell this story. Yeah. Please
Yeah.
continue.
But the priesthood, see, they had to take that out because they claimed to be of Metzorem. The old covenant text that we use is called the Masoretic text, which if we changed the word to what they made a code out of, it would be the Egyptian text. The Old Covenant, the Old Testament that we read out of the King James is an Egyptian text, you see, because it was from Metzorem. They call themselves Metzorite, these Jews out of Switzerland, and so they gave us what they boldly claim to be the Masoretic text, which means Egyptian text, which means they control it, they destroyed it, they took over the narrative, and we bought into it. Lock, stock, and barrel. Yum, 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 eat it up. Yum, yum. Oh, this is a good dogma. I love that dogma. I eat it every day. You know what I mean?
Yep. I do. I do know what you mean. Wow.
Yeah, I've been on this planet too long. I guess you know that, Ninja. I'm anxious to leave.
It's all good, Desert. You're very entertaining. Yep.
Say what?
It's all good. It's all good. You're very entertaining.
We've got to improve technology, on this phone. We got to do that because we're talking over each other.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
While we've paused for a second. Sorry. We need to get in a rhythm with the conversation.
Well, the phone doesn't do very good. It's just we got to get on Skype eventually and get good quality. That'll help us out. But
go ahead,
jump in because I'm on a roll here. And
I know you are. itching to tell you this one. I saw it today. I was looking through my notifications on YouTube, and I'm subscribed to a channel called I'm trying to think of the name of it now. I think it's space Earth from space videos or something. Anyway, I was using it to help with my study of the sky last year, to figure out NASA and just the sky screen and just how they're doing it all. Anyway, I got a notification today, and the title, they're throwing it in our face, Desert. The title was Ariane VA247 Space Launch. ARIANE. They're throwing it in our face. And VA, the V and the A. Yeah, I just had to tell you that. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Even the French space program is called Ariane. The Orion is just another spin on Ariane. And NASA is a spin on Nazare, or Nazi, Nazare. The Nazare means those who came down from the sun.
Yeah.
You see? That's what it means.
Yeah.
From a star.
Yeah.
Yeah, comes down from.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's in our face. So, okay, so do you remember now that, so we point out that the one who came from the sun came down to talk to Pharaoh and to get in his face because he was a false Malak. He was a false royal messenger. He was not a true royal messenger representing the light, because he represented by all of his actions darkness.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember the story that right before the firstborn were going to be killed, or else it was directly after, but right at that point, it was right at the end of the saga when they were getting ready to leave. They were just about ready to get out because there was the firstborn would be killed, but I'm assuming it was prior to the death of the firstborn, but it could have been after. I'd have to go back and read. There's so much to remember. But then the women, it says the women borrowed the gold from the Mediterranean Egyptian women, that the Hebrew women borrowed the gold from the Mediterranean women. Do you remember that story?
I remember, yeah, not in detail, but yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, it's a very short clip. It's just, bottom line is that the Hebrew women borrow the gold from the Mediterranean women, and so this is purely a symbolic act.
Yeah.
You see, we have to be able to read the symbolism.
Yeah.
And so what it means is, the gold is the thing that's most precious to you. So what would be most precious to Maitar or to any culture other than their mythos, their mythology that talks about where they come from, who they are, why they're here, etc., right?
Yes.
Okay. So the fact that they borrowed the gold that the Hebrews, the Avres, the correct term is the Avres, that's another story. The Hebrews borrowed the gold from the Mediterranean means, excuse us, you pretended to be of the light? Now, we're going to take your mythology and we are going to be of the light, you see.
Okay, yes.
All right?
Yeah.
And now I'm going to give a New Testament example. Well, it still is a quote that comes out of the Old Covenant. But now I get the picture in a new light because of just by getting the Book of the Dead that's opened up to me. It shows you how significant it is. It was a great sign from Yeshua for me that, we can't leave any stone unturned, because once I got the book in my hand, all of a sudden I got a new picture of a quote that I've been reading all my life. And it is, in other words, the question is, why, when Herod wanted to kill the babies in Bethlehem, so Mare and Yobole Shaphe, Joseph, had to flee into Egypt, right? They had Mater, and they had to escape to another country in order to protect the seat of light, the royal lineage of Tamar, David, then now it has whole new meaning when I read the scripture that says, "Out of Egypt have I called my son." You see?
Yeah.
SONSUN.
Yeah.
Out of Egypt have
Yeah.
I called my light.
Yeah. Wow. I'm just letting that sink in. Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
because the word is not Egypt, you see. The word is Mesar. And remember we talked about May on Tuesday, how May is the most beautiful month?
Yep.
It's an example of paradise. It represents the proverbial Adon, the atom. And so what is the May star? So what he really said is, out of the May star have I called my son. Meaning the light itself, out of the sun itself, I have called my son. But Egypt, Mesar, is used to create the metaphor and the symbolism, you see?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a powerful story.
It is.
Because he uses us on earth to bring forth whatever he needs to do.
Yeah.
You know, he uses the people on earth for better, for worse. Some are the scapegoat, and some have a fortunate opportunity to transcend if they get their head on straight. You know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
Sorry, I was just looking at the chat. Take's having problem with sound, but everyone else seems okay, and I'm just thinking, wow, you're saying, like, revealing something so profound and the sound starts having issues. I think everyone else is fine. Take's gonna refresh, reboot.
Yeah, sometimes you may have to do a reboot. Who was that?
So I just want to say g'day to everybody while we're pausing. Already said hi to Lynn and Ya Love. Say hi to Duck and Road Trip Eddie. I just met Road Trip Eddie in one of Duck's chats the other day, so we subbed each other. And so welcome.
Hi to Duck, and want to welcome our new
Shelley,
friends and listeners out there.
Yeah, and Shelley and Take, who hopefully has sound back. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, Take is the abbreviation for Take the Old Devil, I think, right?
Yes.
All right. That's Teresa.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very good. So I'll tell you what. So why don't we do just a short break? Give out my information, the website and everything, Ninja, and that way I can break my voice, and we'll do part 2 here, or not part 2, but part of third, and then we'll take the longer break in a little bit because I still have more territory to go. Okay. Okay.
Well, do you want to make this short break because I've been wanting to put up my V Manor video. Do you want to do that now?
You can do that.
Yeah, because that's only like a 4 minutes or so, and I can put
go do that, and then I'll be here drinking some my tea and regrouping on my voice, right?
Yeah. I'll see if I can do another cup of coffee in 4 minutes. Yeah. Wish me luck. Okay, guys, we're going to take a short break. I'll put up the video that didn't work last stream. Some of you have already seen it. If you look right down the bottom of the screen, near the end of the video, especially when it's slowed down, you can see it. There's another one on the edge of the cloud, down the bottom there. So they're all over the place. Anyway, this happens every time I get a storm front. The frequencies change, the sky goes weird. There's always what look like pre-sprayed chem cloud behind the incoming storm clouds. And after the video, because I very rarely get a chance, I have about 4 or 5 videos in the works that on the to-do list. I'm going to put up a few pictures after the video of some of the lightning, the storms that we've been having. Anyway, so we'll go to the break. Enjoy the video. I just have to find it. Won't be a second. Okay, welcome back to the Forbidden History Chronicles. You're here with Ninja Cat 111 and Desert Owl from the Forbidden History series. I will give you Desert's details after I show you these pictures. The video, what you were looking at was one of the V-Manners, Aryan technology. And what we believe to be microwave energy coming from it. Okay, Lynn, I'm just having a look at the sound. Alright, that should be better, I hope. Anyway, this picture here is taken from my backyard. Apart from, with the exception of last night, we have had a storm like this every night. Probably they'll go like 3 or 4 nights in a row, and then they'll take a night off, and then they'll be back. So it's exactly the same process every single time. They come in at the same time every day, and they have the same setup with the clouds every day. Same lightning, ferocious and blue, and the thunder is really, really loud and sounds mechanical, and they just rumble around for 3 to 5 hours. It's exactly the same on repeat every night. And with all the cover-ups and misdirections that are happening down here in the land of Oz at the moment, I've managed to get evidence of at least 3 occasions in the past month where they have cancelled severe storm warnings for the area as the severe storm is arriving, and I don't think that is coincidental. Anyway, this one's from my backyard. I'm quite proud of that shot. It took weeks to get to get a good lightning shot. That's the same from the same lightning bolt. My trees are blue, and it's way too bright. Just a couple more to go here. That is a picture I found on a local news website. I can't think of the name of it right now, but that is taken from Black Mountain, where Telstra Tower is, our phone company. It's a tourist attraction. You can go up to the tower, but anyway, there's lookouts, and that was taken from there, looking out towards the Parliamentary Triangle and Parliament House. The lightning bolt actually looks like it's exactly to the left of Parliament House. I think the flagpole on top of Parliament House acts as a lightning rod, and the little branch to the right on that bolt down the bottom, to me looks like it's going directly to the top of the flagpole. But anyway, so that's what we've been getting, like clockwork for the last month. That blue lightning, and it's non-stop. That's the flagpole I was talking about, and the front entrance of Parliament House here in Canberra. Notice the shape of the there's a 4-sided pyramid in that pole. Okay, I'll just show you a couple more and then we'll get back into the program. I always get curious and veer off with my research. I already knew about the setup of Canberra, how it's all set up in the in design with the Freemasons, So I was looking at it a bit more. That's just another shot of Parliament House. I've walked up on top of it. You used to be able to walk up the grass and have a look around up the top under the flagpole. For security reasons, you're no longer allowed to do that. You can't walk up the hill anymore. So I've actually been up there and stood under the flagpole, and anyone can do this. Just Google it. This was Google Maps. See the symbol in the center? I only just noticed that last night. Anyway, so I was amazed. There's a zoom in shot. The symbol right in the center there. It's in our face. And I never noticed it before. Anyway, so we'll get back to the good news. I just wanted to show you a few pictures. Won't be a second. Oh, we'll leave that on there for now. Okay, if you want to get in touch with Desert, you can contact him on 608 566 7295. That's 608 566 7295. All the contact information is in the description under every Chronicles live stream. If you're international, just put a +1 in front of that number. You can call him regarding any questions. You can ask. Desert's happy to do interviews. And also for more information about literature, Desert's working on the greatest transliterational project in history. So feel free to donate, any size donation, to help Desert do his work on that. At the moment, Desert has a PC, but he's still waiting for it to get up and running. So any queries, you can either call Desert directly or you can email me and I can pass on messages. You can go to his website to donate. It's www.therealpublicradio.net. That's www.therealpublicradio.net, which is also in the description. Hi Lester, how's it going? And we will send you copies of sample copies. We have the sorry I need more coffee. Desert has the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary PDF. There's also the Book of Wisdom, and there's also a sample copy of the original Gospel with a more up-to-date version of the dictionary attached. So any size donation will get you that, or if you cannot afford to donate and you really want the literature, which is very handy to get started if you're new to this information, please contact Desert directly on his phone number, or you can get hold of me through my email in the description, and we will get the literature to you anyway if you can't afford it. I think I've rambled on for long enough. You back, Desert, for part 2? Okay, won't be a second. There seems to be a technical issue. Won't be a second. Okay, and we're back. Sorry, we got disconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just want to give one example real quick of a translation and how they've manipulated our scriptures. I've got plenty of them, but this is just one example. And it's in chapter 27 of Matthew and verse 19, starting with verse 19. Now, while the governor sat on his judgment seat, his wife went over to him and said to him, I have nothing to do with harming that just man, for I have suffered many things in a dream because of him. But the chief priest and elders persuaded the crowd to ask for Barabbas to destroy Yeshua. And in this particular section, it began to get clear that parts of the scriptures were removed because it goes from where she's telling him in a dream, then it says, but the chief priests and elders persuaded the crowd to ask for Barabbas to destroy him. And then another piece looks to be missing because then it immediately goes into, and the governor answered and said to them, whom do you want me to free from these two? And they said, Son of the Father, because that's what Barabbas means, Son of the Father. So you have two characters up there that are called Son of the Father, Yeshua, and then the man who goes by the Son of the Father. That's all he's called. And Pilate said to them, and what would you want me to do with Yeshua, who was called the Mashiach? All of them said to him that he should be crucified. And the governor said to them, for what has he done that is so evil? I'm going to use their terminology in here. But they cried out the more and said, he should be crucified. Now Pilate, when he saw that nothing helped, but that clamor was increased, he took water and washed his hands before the crowd and said, I am absolved of the blood of this just man. I had nothing to do with this. You can do what you like. And yes, and all the people answered, his blood be upon our heads and on our children. And here's where a switch out occurred, because it says, then he released Barnabas to them and scourged Yeshua, but he didn't. He washed his hands. Can you not see that, Ninja?
Yes. Yes, I can.
He has nothing to do with it. And so what it really did, so the switch out is within the arrangement and the names, because what it would have said was he released not Barabbas, but Yeshua to them, and Herod had him scourged. Then he released Yeshua to them, and Herod had him scourged with whips and delivered him up to be crucified, because that's what happened in the story. Pilate is out of here. He said, I'm having nothing to do with this. And he washed his hands. And then if you read the other lost writings, like the two of them that came out of Tibet, it says, but of the others, none of them would wash their hands. Herod was there, and it said Herod would not wash his hands, nor any of the others. So this was an opportunity for everybody to wash hands and let this just individual go free.
Yeah.
But then it was Herod who took him because his father, Herod the Great, wanted to kill him as a child, as you know. But instead, it was Herod who took him, and they were the ones who dressed him in a robe with crowns of thorns. And as it goes further, delivered him up to, and they delivered him up to be crucified. And the soldiers, okay, this is Herod's soldiers, not the Roman soldiers. The soldiers of Herod took Yeshua to the Praetorium and assembled all of the company. So if you could imagine like a small regiment of soldiers all gathered in front of him as if getting in a military lineup, right? And all the soldiers lined up in front of him, and then they stripped him and clothed him with a purple robe, and they wove a crown of thorns and placed it on his head, and then and put a reed in his right hand, and then they all bowed down to him with their knees. So it was a formal gathering of soldiers all bowing down to him, creating a great dramatic sequence prior to then his being crucified. And they all bowed down on their knees before him, and were all mocking him and said, "Rise to the King of the Judeans." And they spit in his face, and they took reeds and were striking him on the head. And after they had mocked him, then they stripped him of the robe and dressed him in his clothes and led him away to be crucified. And while they were going out, then they got a man from Cyrene who would have been a black man, because it was a symbol to let all people know that anybody can be saved, including the people of dark color. And the man from Cyrene, whose name was Shimon, was compelled to carry his cross and came to the place in Golgotha, which is interpreted as the skull. And the skull sculling means to steer. And so this is where the direction of our world then changed, because Yeshua is the one who had victory over the grave and then conquered death, and said all power was given unto him. So the occult world ended at that time, and the people are in outer darkness. They're in the state of death, spiritual death, have no relationship with them. And it says, and they gave him vinegar and wine that was mixed with bitter gall to drink, and when he tasted it, he would not drink it. And so the vinegar, the wine vinegar, was symbolic of the religion of the ancient past, of Esha Reul, and as a result of that, in other words, it went sour, is what it means. So it was symbolic. He could not drink it. He said, "I thirst," and then they put it up to his lips. He tasted it, but would not drink it because it had turned to vinegar. And that's indicative of the true nature. Over and over, we get the symbols of this, the fact that Israel is irrelevant, while at the same time they get Christians over here in America bowing down at the feet of Israel for some reason, only because they've been mind controlled and brainwashed to do so.
Yeah.
And do they do that over there in your neck of the woods, Ninja? Have you noticed?
I don't know, because I've never, not as much here. Like, I've stayed right away from religion. Like, the only time I've touched on religion is during my research, and all I see, like, I don't see anything on YouTube, on alternative media about anything down here. Just mainstream, just the same old with the priests and what they do, like the pedophilia. There's always something going on. Somebody's always going to court.
Israel controls the U.S. For the Vatican, the media, the entertainment of Hollywood, and the medical area. They run America basically.
Yeah.
And so they control the narrative of our scriptures. they really, our world is owned lock, stock, and barrel by a criminal cartel. It was the Israeli Mossad, of course, who took down the Twin Towers. And we're
yeah. Oh, I did see something recently about Israel and trading, like some sort of agreement taking over all the trading, and I think Australia and New Zealand were in on that. That's the only thing I've seen down here. Like we're so out of the loop, does it? So
yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Well, you bet. So I've got more that we're going to do. Perhaps on Sunday I'll share some more. But we're going to have to wrap it up now. I've got to break off from the program at this point, Ninja, but I wanted to get that sample of a translation that we're doing. We're doing really important work here to have the scriptures brought back to life when they turned it into the Book of the Dead, basically, is what we're doing. And if they listen to your back issues and also the programming on my YouTube channel, The Forbidden History Series, 4 words, The Forbidden History Series, start June 21st last year, 2018, and follow those first 2 weeks. I gave 2 weeks worth of information that nobody else talks about anywhere that will make people realize that there's a lot more to the story than meets the eye, and we need to open our eyes and see and read things for the first time in our lives. Right, Ninja?
Yes, exactly. Does it? Exactly. It's
Alrighty, so then.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to let you go, and we'll look towards Sunday then, okay?
Okay. You okay? Everything okay?
Yeah, everything's fine. I just need to jump off now, okay? So we'll pick it up next a few days.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody tuning in, and do tell your friends about Ninja Cat 111, okay? And the broadcast here, and great capture with that. UFO, unidentified.
The Vimana.
The New World Order. The Vimana. We know who's flying those Vimanas.
Yes, we
People
do.
put on their pants just like us every day, and it's the greatest show on earth. So, God, to use a cliche, God help us, right?
Yeah.
We'll see you. That be the Pope. Okay, Yahweh, help us. Yahweh, help us. And He is. He's bringing the light right down, right here. On your channel, so thank you for doing this great work, Ninja. Okay, we'll talk soon.
Okay. Thank you, Desert. Amazing as always. Okay, so that was another program done of the Forbidden History Chronicles with Ninja Cat 111 and Desert Owl. Okay, I'm just trying to ramble on while I find the button on my OBS. Okay, thanks for coming, guys. Love you all, and we will be back on Sunday, 1:30 p.m. desert time. What's that? 5:30 a.m. Monday Aussie time. And just remember, you heard it here first. Alright, see you guys later.
press 1 to mute or unmute yourself. 2 to lock or unlock the conference. 3 to record the conference. 4 for